Speaker and formerly Chief Whip of the House. This milestone is coming after 7 male speakers have held the position since 1979. The former Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, was removed from office due to allegations his colleagues called gross misconduct and abuse of power, becoming perhaps the second speaker to be impeached in Lagos after Pelumi Jokotola in the Fourth Republic. The 52-year-old lawmaker who represents Agege constituency has been in the House since 2007, became Speaker in 2015, and would have clocked 10 years in that seat June this year. Abimbola Bebe has more about what happened yesterday in this report.
It is indeed the end of an era, and the drama that culminated the conclusion of a man whose stature loomed large since 2015 has left many in shock. There was an unusual security presence mounted at the entrance of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Then lawmakers were seen driving in. It's not Tuesday, but this was yet an unusual sitting at the chamber. The tones were hushed until the event happened.
In line with the provision of section of 92, section 2, section C of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I hereby move that the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable...
The end of an era, and the drama that culminated the conclusion of a man whose stature loomed large since 2015 has left many in shock. There was an unusual security presence mounted at the entrance of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Then lawmakers were seen driving in. It's not Tuesday, but this was yet an unusual sitting at the chamber. The tones were hushed until the event happened.
In line with the provision of section of 92, section 2, section C of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I hereby move that the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, be removed as Speaker of this House Assembly for the following reason. 1. Gross misconduct and poor leadership, including perpetual lateness to legislative sections and meetings. 2. High-handedness and lack of regard for honorable member at all times, intimidation and suppression of members, including inciting members against one another. 3. Financial impropriety, misappropriation of funds and lack of transparency in its management of the House of Assembly funds.
Totaling into 29 honorable members of the Lagos State House of Assembly. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say nay. The ayes have it.
The now former Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, has been impeached, and his former deputy, Mojisola Miranda, coronated as the new Speaker and the first female Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
I, Mojisola Miranda, do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will be faithful
as
the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, that I will perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, faithfully and
for this great event. We say thank you for your support. We really do appreciate you. And on this note, I, Right Honorable Mojisola Miranda, do Right Honorable Mojisola Miranda, the Speaker of the 10th Assembly of Lagos State House of Assembly, promise to work with each and everyone and operate an open door policy. Thank you all for your support and your cooperation. I do appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On that note, my message to Lagosians will continue to work for our fellow Lagosians, Lagos residents, everybody, and also work with other two arms of government, the executive and the judiciary. And by the special grace of God, Lagos shall be a wonderful place for all to live. and do businesses. Thank you. On that note, I would like to call on Honorable Setonji to move for motion of adjournment.
All right, get used to it. We have Madam Speaker the first time in Lagos. So what were Obasa saying? You heard Femi Zahid representing Kosofe constituency there, moving the motion for the removal of the Speaker for what he called alleged misappropriation of funds, poor leadership, and abuse of office. He also cited at least 5 reasons why Obasa should be removed as Speaker of the House. Gross misconduct and poor leadership. He talked about high-handedness and disregard for honorable members of the House. There is the issue of perpetual lateness to legislative sessions and meetings, and intimidation and suppression of and inciting members against one another. There are conversations as regards mismanagement of funds and lack of transparency in his management of the House. So what's happening this morning? I have joining me lawyer Libero Soshoma to discuss this latest development coming from the Center of Excellence. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Always my pleasure.
It appears you got the color code. Because how on earth are we both wearing brown? Did you see this coming at all, given, you know, all of the events of last year that culminated in his eventual impeachment?
Yes, I knew that he was on his way out. The budget presentation was the icing on the cake. And I did a video where I said maybe all Lagosians need to bring Ebo and call of Batala, call Shongo, let us go and appease the gods of the Lagos Assembly, which was Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. And if you understand Lagos politics, and if you understand politics generally, you know, it's enough to be ambitious, but arrogance, you know, coupled with ambition is not something that is highly tolerated in Lagos, especially amongst the political leadership. That's also what was alleged to have cost Ambode his second-term governorship. Indeed. So the moment I saw that handwriting, I knew that it's either the speaker is reined in, or, you know, a lot of things are going to, you know, spoil. And so when the president came home for holiday, the December holiday, the Christmas and New Year, I know certainly a lot of meetings would have taken place. And I had the privilege of listening to the chieftain of the party, Fuad Oki, Chief Fuad Oki, and he said that 3 meetings we had, some between the speaker and the governor, and where the party leaders, especially the GSC,
the governing,
the Governor's Advisory Council, tried to mediate, and the former speaker was unbendable. And, you know, the president being the leader of the party, they waited to report the matter to him. He also called a last meeting to try and mediate, and at that meeting, he saw things for himself. These were the words of Chief
He said it was recalcitrant.
Yes, it was recalcitrant, and it was unbendable. And so, with that, it was obvious that ambition coupled with, you know, high-handedness and, you know, emperor-like behavior, you know, that cost somebody's second term would certainly also cost the former speaker his position. And so, for some of us who are political observers, I knew that it was something that was going to happen. But when it will happen was something I couldn't say.
Exactly what I had in mind, because this was someone who had 18 years of experience in the House. He was barely 5 months into matching Ikuforiji's 10-year tenure.
Yeah.
It could have outlasted him, eventually spending perhaps the highest number of time in that seat as Speaker. He was a political principality. I'm not sure quite a number of people thought it was going to be that easy to, impeach him, especially what, you talked about what happened when Mr. Governor presented the budget. He had quite a number of lawmakers behind him. They were all wearing the black shade, if you remember.
The lawmakers, mind you, you see these lawmakers, they represent a constituent. They are leaders in their constituent. In Lagos, the party in Lagos is so structured that, you don't just wake up and say, I want to be. You must be asked to go. So, no matter, when I saw all of those shenanigans, permit me to use the word, and I said, well, all it will take is just one call. We've seen it happen. We've seen lawmakers, support the speaker and, sing praises in support of, pass a vote of confidence. And the very next day, they're singing a different song. So you ask yourself, what changed? The political leaders have decided to call them and, rein them in to say, look, this trajectory that you're going on is destructive. And it is either you retrace your step. And mind you, let me quickly remind you, during the reign of, or during the administration of Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, there were some lawmakers who supported Fashola in the House. There were attempts to impeach him. But you remember those lawmakers, it cost them their return back to the House of Assembly, which shows you that in Lagos, you don't just wake up and do as you like. So if, after the visit of the president in Lagos and then the party leaders, which for me now, if you've studied the party structure in Lagos over time, seems to be very strong. Because according to report also, even Ambode, left to the president, he probably would have had forgiven him and, would want him to serve a second time. But for the party leaders, the GAC, who insisted, and I think in one of his interviews, the president was alluded to have said, what is a leader without his followers? And so if your followers insist, even for Fashola too, the party leaders insisted that he must go for a second term. So when you see all of this playing out and you see the shenanigans going on in the House and then the speaker talking like, oh yes, the House is like a temple, every other temple. And once the ghosts are not appeased and all of those things, I'm like, this man must probably think these people who are wearing dark shades with him.
Actually with him.
Because mind you also, the moment you wear dark shade and your colleagues are wearing dark shade, you can't even look at their eyes. You don't see where they are looking at.
You can't tell what's behind the glasses.
They might just be pandering at that time. And, and in politics, we all know, all that is permanent is interest. So if their interests change, or the same people that pass a vote of confidence on him are the same people that are accusing him of being high-handed and lateness to... So the lateness might not necessarily be lateness for house sitting, but must be the lateness of the budget presentation. He spent, even while the party leaders and governors were there, they had to wait for like 4 hours, waiting for, the almighty speaker.
And they said the GAC, members were there, the governor, the deputy, that it was quite disrespectful and what have you. By the way, the GAC is expected to brief the press this morning. I have to confirm if that meeting is already ongoing. Obasa was reportedly in America when this happened.
I think he saw it coming, and so he stylishly, excused himself because he would have. You know how painful it is when you think people are with you only for you to hear, because he's a politician, savvy, and well experienced too. So he certainly will know that this is going to happen. So if political observers can see this, then you would say he saw it. And so it would be quite disgraceful for you to be in office and the people who you believe are your supporters, move a motion and then impeach you all of a sudden. And he probably would have even suspended him. They would have moved a motion to suspend him and then appoint an interim speaker and, a motion will be tabled. So all of that to spare the House and himself all of those, issues. The man, politically, stylishly excused himself. And to also tell you that he was aware, the people that allegedly went to the House to pay courtesy visits How do you pay courtesy visit to a man who is holidaying in faraway America? And, you know, there were allegations that they actually came to march in solidarity of Obasa. But because the powers that be didn't want to hear any of that, so they were shown
They ended up in a Black Maria.
The Black Maria.
Where they were singing the Monday song. Very interesting the way it played out. But what does this mean for his political future? For a man who, during that speech, the body language was, you know what, I'm not too young to run for governor. I'm not less experienced than everyone who's been governor of Lagos.
For me, I think he didn't manage his ambitions very well. We've seen, but it's APC. It's a family affair for them. So, like somebody will say, what would he consign me? So for them, the day he retraced his step, he might, you know, just be benched for some time and then probably be rehabilitated some other time. You know, there are some members, like I said, who, because of the saga, the issue of Fashola, second term and the rest, they were not returned to the house. But after some time, they stayed their course and remained loyal to the party. And today, a lot of them have been compensated and had higher offices and, you know, or left. So it's the same vein. So maybe tomorrow, if he decides to retrace his step and go, you know, meet and reconcile. Even if you remember the same Ambode that was, you know, asked out of office. His party denied him ticket. Even the party members voted against him, including the deputy, his deputy, you know, was reported to have voted, you know, against their own candidature during the primaries. Today, there are rumors that the Ambode might even come back.
He has joined the list of what that man called pretenders.
Yeah, exactly. So he's joined the list, and if he's able to, if he's consistent, he might end up as a contender and eventually emerge as a contestant.
And he only has one term. So.
And he only has one term. And mind you, if you look at the permutation, 8 years of Tinubu, who's a Muslim, 8 years of Fashola, who is a Muslim, and then you have 4 years of Ambode and 8 years of Sanwo-Olu. So probably they might also want to bring in Ambode to complete, you know, the, what do you call it, 16 years, 16 years.
It is still 2025.
It's all political permutation. Why I'm saying this is that no matter the sins of Ambode at that time, time has passed, he probably has retraced his step, and the party, you never can tell. It's been a family affair, just like PDP used to say those days. They might just look inward and say, you know what, go and sin no more. So if Obasa is able to retrace his step, he might be asked to go and sin no more sometimes too.
So,
but
you don't agree that he was removed because he showed interest to become governor?
No. What's his name? Ikufuriji showed interest to become governor, but he served out his term. He also said that he was not too young to govern, and those people that had governed before him, you know, it's all of that. He said the same thing that Obasa basically said, but he was able to manage his own ambition. He contested primaries with Ambode, you know, so, but he was able to manage his own ambition very well. He wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't, to borrow Chief Eda Oki's words again, he wasn't seen as an emperor. He wasn't unbendable. So he served out his term. So unlike this one, so a situation where the people that have made you see you to be unbendable, they say okra, no, they grow past the owner. So once he gets to that, you know, what they basically did was to uproot him. And I think he should have been able to manage it. It's not just about ambition. You can be ambitious. There are so many people who want to be governor of Lagos State, you know. So you can be, even in the house, there are some persons who are not seeing the ambition too, but will not be that loud. And the idea of appeasing the gods, you now, there can be only one God.
Part-time.
Political gods. Part-time. And so you now equating yourself with, so they will look at it and like, this young man is becoming, you know, a demigod.
You know, I spoke with Honorable Ikufuriji yesterday on the show, and it was highlighting the importance of humility in Lagos politics.
I listened to that that interview. He even though he also disagreed that it wasn't about ambition, and then he stylishly didn't want to say that the man was high-handed.
Absolutely,
but he talked about humility.
Yes,
so
and it was saying it was abnormal for him to have worn the black shade in-house.
Exactly. So it was like, my face, no, they fear your face, kind of thing. So, and if you see, even the handshake, you know, wasn't cordial. And for me, as an observer, that would have been an opportunity for Lagos to showcase what it has to offer, bury all the hatchet and, you know, whatever, you know, internal wrangling there is, use that as opportunity to showcase whatever you have, whatever the state, the potentials, what the state has achieved, and then what the potentials and the core areas that the state is moving into at this time when everybody is complaining about the party. So it is not the time to demarcate the party. And so with all of those attitude and behavior, he clearly, you know, shown to a lot of people that had not observed that, look, there is, you know, there are quarrels here. And also the allegations that the governor appointed commissioners, you know, without compensating people who worked for the party. It was not in his place to make such insinuations, because there are leaders in the party. We know Lagos. Governors does not just sit down and appoint commissioners. There are leaders in the party. And mind you, some of these leaders have been members of AG, Action Group, right from the First Republic. So some of these people are political administrators. They are well-read. They understand the intricacies of the political landscape in Lagos. So also, there were accusations against him that most of the appointments, you know, for his constituency were cornered to his relatives. And you remember he said he's not ashamed to say he's an Obasa, and anytime he wants to contest, he will contest as an Obasa, you know, all of those things. So that shows clearly that, you know, there were indeed allegations and counter-allegations.
He presided over the rejection of the commissioner nominees you talked about, which many considered unprecedented. But interestingly, that decision enjoyed some form of acceptance, you know, within the stakeholders, because he was coming on the heels of the 2023 election where the APC did badly, you know, and, you know, they were talking about how politically active were these guys who want to bring to power.
You know, in politics, you can mask your personal interests under a general interest if it
resonates, yeah.
If it resonates at that point. So he probably, maybe people who also who saw, you know, who agreed with him did not truly understand that they were personal interests and they were, you know, maybe contemptuous, you know, contemptuousness behind those actions. I think it was over time that he started saying it, that, look, these interests were not for the general, you know, well-being of the party. They probably were, you know, personal disagreement and then masked as, you know, general interest for the party. So, and that's why people also now had to bring out his own, you know, selfish selections. That, look, if you're talking about empowering people who had, you know, worked for the party and who are politically strong, how about your area? How about those that you have compensated? How strong are they politically? So for me, really, a few takeaways. Every politician should know that, you know, the office of a political leader is a tenured monarch.
Power
that of it, it's transient. So someday, and then for especially a speaker, you should know that you are first among equals. By virtue, if you look at section 188, it clearly spells out procedure from subsection 1 to subsection 9. And then subsection 10 now says, once these procedures are complied with, the court cannot look into it. It's like querying the powers of the legislature. But the Supreme Court in its wisdom said, no, you can't invoke subsection 10 until you comply with subsection 1 to now subsection 188. But for the removal of a speaker, section 92, subsection 2, paragraph C, just says that he can be removed by two-third majority, you know, by resolution of two-third majority of the House. Whether there's a reason for that or not, they can just sit down and say, we elected you as speaker, we want to remove you, we don't like your face. But I believe that when the allegations of financial improprieties are levied against somebody, it will be more honorable for a House to set up a committee, investigate those allegations, and then debate the removal on the basis of that allegation.
We had Senator Mamora on the news last night. You know, he was the first Speaker of the Lagos Assembly, and he was trying to say there's a difference between removing and impeaching, that perhaps the former Speaker was removed and not impeached. I didn't quite get the details of his, but we saw about 32 or 33 of them in the House. We're not quite detailed as to what figure, but it was between 32 and 33. You were also talking about the body language of the Deputy Speaker, who was supposed to have worked closely with him. Do you think that even though he was a popular gay politician, did he do well in winning the loyalty of those who are supposed to be close to him?
You see from the way things, before now, it's easy to say he enjoys the loyalty of members of the House, the way they had carried on with him. To a very large extent, you can also say that he has, carried his colleagues, along very well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lasted this long, even though, now, towards the end of towards the March to 2027, we started seeing, these high-handedness and arrogance, but you would agree that he also had carried his colleagues, perfectly well. But for the current Speaker, I also do not think that she, as Deputy Speaker, was given enough latitude to play the role, but because from her substance speech, and she was acting, even though this is her third term in the House, she acted like somebody who's new, who's new to the House, who's new to that seat. For the Deputy Speaker, who probably would have, sat on that seat acting for and on behalf of the Speaker for some time. My conclusion is that this woman was just probably a figurehead.
Acting is different from the substantive, though.
Yeah, just like the former Deputy Governor under Ambode. She was just there. Unlike the ones under Fashola, you could see them; they were visible. So, like Ambode covered, the feed, just the same way Obasa. But give it to him. Yes, he has arrogance aside, but in terms of, political leadership and, carrying his colleagues along. I was in Lusaka, Zambia, and one of the members of the House also, represented him there. So for me, I felt, look, once in a while he delegates responsibilities, but it is beyond that. It is beyond delegation. It's beyond carrying your members along. It is beyond sharing the largesse. It is what the powers that be, if they feel that you are beginning to grow, taller than your owner, they have a way of cutting you to size.
And then the fact that people are wearing black shit with you doesn't necessarily mean that
it's even worse. Like I said, it's even worse when they wear black shade with you because they are not seeing your eyes, they are not seeing their eyes. So you might think they are looking at you, and they are looking in different direction. But
his impeachment and perceived arrogance apart, do you think he would have successfully succeeded Sanwo-Olu as
no, it is impossible.
As governor.
It's impossible. If you look at, to go back to 2007, towards the tail end of Tinubu as governor of Lagos State, you had about 11 contestants. You had more than 11 pretenders. Eventually, you had 11 contestants. Fashola was not in the reckoning. Fashola's name never appeared anywhere. But from nowhere, it was like Baba Sokwe.
As it has been since.
So I'm just giving you a trajectory. So they say, if you look at, in philosophy, when you look at, you draw precedent to be able to draw a conclusion. For Ambode, it was the same thing. Ambode had a running battle with Fashola, and he eventually pulled out of the civil service. And he was not, in the configuration. But from nowhere, we all heard Ambode is the next man to be. Sanwo-Olu, nobody, if you had, in fact, if you had conjured all the magicians, political magicians in Lagos 2 years before that time and asked them, who do you think would be the next person? His name was not mentioned, even though he was a two-time commissioner under Fashola, but his name was not mentioned.
Now, I'm sure he also
and even for him,
if
you remember, Sanwo-Olu said his ambition was to be chief of staff to Hamzat because everybody had thought that Hamzat was going to be the governor. But from nowhere, he became the governor, and he's been humble. He's carried himself with humility, and despite the provocation from the House, you still saw the way the man went about it. And for me, I give him kudos for being that mature, and he never uttered a statement about that incident.
Absolutely.
So that's, for me, is a smart politician who knows his onion. So for 2027 against this president. That's why Chief
hold that thought for a minute.
Called them pretenders.
Let's go on a short break because there's a long list now of those who have been touted to be governor. Interestingly, they look like familiar names, except one. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll open the phone lines and hear from you as well. Stay with us, everyone.
TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening.
You're watching Beyond 100 Days with Nifemi Oguntoye. President Tinubu, since he assumed office,
they are on our way to progress.
6 out of the 8 APC federal lawmakers.
I have a movement structure that's going to take back our party in Enugu State. Because this one I'm seeing is tales by moonlight. It's not working.
So I'm wondering what you think or who you think can stop him now.
He doesn't own the party.
One of the causes of inflation is because people cannot go to the farm.
The government still needs to do more so that people can eat.
I believe what clamoring for is more responsible use of social media. Not that people just go in there and think that they can say anything to anybody.
Tinubu is not one who believes in the simple. I mean, he wants to get it done. He will face it. He will get it done.
Yes, the president, from inception of his administration, focused squarely on diversifying the economy and driving in investments to cushion the effect of everything that we've seen, ranging from COVID-19 to the global commodity shocks, global financial crisis, and all of that.
I was privileged to have worked under a governor who believed in the system, who also built up the system, and I'm going to do same.
All right, that's our show today, everyone. Thanks for being a part of it.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
Happy New Year, everyone!
May this new year bring you joy.
Here's to a fresh start, everyone.
May this year bring you love, laughter.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Our phone lines are open now. We'd like to hear from you as well as regards the developing story with the impeachment of Mudashiru Obasa as Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. You can also tweet at us at TVC News NG. Remember to use the hashtag this morning and tag at Nifemi Oguntoye. Abibola Agbebe has been covering the Lagos House of Assembly for years. Here is our account of what happened yesterday.
Relative calm observed on the premises of the Lagos State House of Assembly hours after the impeachment of the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa. Obasa, who has been in the legislature for more than 20 years and served as Speaker for 3 consecutive terms, was sacked from office on Monday morning. In the build-up to his impeachment, the former Speaker had been linked in a series of controversial situations such as alleged financial dealings, abuse of office, and gross misconduct.
Grounds for the impeachments were enormous, as provided for in the motion moved. Part of it were, alleged for gross misconduct and unruly behaviors to members. Then people feel it's high-handedness in handling the affairs of the parliament. And there were alleged misappropriation of public funds or funds. They were everywhere.
His removal was a unanimous decision by 33 members of the House, which was done in line with Section 92, subsection 2C of the Nigerian Constitution.
As a member of the parliament, we were able to have a parliamentary meetings where we, not necessarily plenary, we had a parliamentary meeting and questions were raised. But because he could not give a satisfactory answer to those questions, members feel that is absolute power corrupting him. And with this, it's no good for the image of a center of excellence to have a leader of the parliament who cannot give accounts of fund allocated to the House.
As it stands, all other principal offices and standing committees of the House have been dissolved until the proper constitution of the House at a later date. Lagos State House of Assembly has had 80 speakers steering its affairs since its inauguration on October 2nd, 1979, with Mojisola Miranda elected as the 9th and the first female speaker in its history. Obasa's impeachment became the second recorded in the history of the Lagos State House of Assembly after the removal of Joko Tolak-Belumi from office on December 29, 2005.
Lawyer Libros Oshoma is my guest this morning. Thank you so much for staying the course on the program. Very interesting development. We now have the first female speaker for the Lagos House of Assembly. What does this mean for, the female folk, especially when we consider how much impact they've made politically in our history as a nation? So the conversation is rife in between. If this man wasn't impeached, we wouldn't have the first female speaker. For instance, we are yet to have the first democratically elected female governor in Nigeria. The last time it happened, somebody was asked to go and then they stood in the stead. Is this the pathway for women to emerge? Have we accepted it as a norm?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, you remember when Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor, he had a female as deputy, and she was impeached, and a male was, nominated as deputy, Femi Pedro. And Fashola had two female deputies, Sarah Shosan and Akinfi Lure also. And then Ambode had a female deputy, and Sanwo-Olu now has a male deputy. One would have expected that from that 2019, that having two male, it's governor and deputy, that there would be a female, deputy. But because, if you remember at that time, the then former speaker, Eshiloku was former speaker. I think subsequently, it was this last election that he went to the Senate. One would have expected that since Obasa didn't go to the Senate, so there was no position. He was speaker even before the emergence of Sanwo-Olu. So I think that also affected him. He thought, look, I've been here before this man, even though the governor was commissioner even before, he became speaker. So, but you find out that the position of speakership is zoning, really. It has little or no bearing with the fact whether the acceptance of the wise of female participation, but that does not mean we should de-emphasize their influence and how well they've been able to showcase leadership.
Hold that thought for a minute. Just a minute, Mr. Shoma. Let's take George's call from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George. Mr. George, are you there? All right, we'll get back to that conversation. When you're calling in, please turn down the volume of your TV so we can speak directly over the phone. Please go ahead.
We had this woman, Tejosho, who was a member, very vociferous member, Fumi Tejosho of the Lagos State House of Assembly. And we've had, very strong women leaders in Lagos. Abike Dabiri-Erewa is one of them. The former two deputy governors I mentioned, including Sarah Shosan, who was very mobile and very visible during her tenure as deputy governor. Even Idiata Debule, who's now a senator, also. And then Remi Tinubu is also a woman leader in Lagos. So you can't, take away their influence and their mark in as far as Lagos politics is concerned. But it is still heavily patriarchal. Indeed. And so the men still call the shots.
All of the names.
But the good thing about all of this is that in Yoruba land, there is that position that from time immemorial, the office of Iyaloja, Iyalode, has always been there. So women have always been recognized in the place of politics. So if someday a woman becomes governor, it will just be like normal thing.
There's a long list of those that have been touted to be governor. They're all men. But in the spirit of, the big surprise, perhaps a female underdog can emerge in 2027.
Yes,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Like, that's why I said, for the Lagos leadership, you know, keep you guessing until it becomes obvious. And once they select, everybody knows this is the place they're going to.
But some say 2027 might be a little bit quite more competitive based on what we saw in the last election. But we'll talk about that shortly. Let's get back to Mr. George. Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
And good morning to Libros.
Good morning, Mr. George.
Listen, I'm talking from the perspective of an observer, you know, observing from a distance. I am particularly surprised that the speaker could last this long on that seat. If you watch the video of just this event they organized recently, this Thanksgiving prayer session, they organized it, you know, a few days ago. I was just asking myself, what is going on? Is it that the speaker is superior to the governor? He came in, he strode in when they were actually in a prayer session. Somebody was praying. You will run back the video and watch it. And he essentially disrupted it by going to different people, shaking hands with them. He's supposed to be on seat before the governor comes in. And in other cases I have seen him in public housing, he comes after the governor has already arrived. That is not the right protocol. And for me, it looks like he's lucky. Lagos has what they call Governing Advisory Council.
Yeah.
No speaker in other things can do what the speaker has been doing. Governor is the commissioners are going to work with the governor. They are not coming to work with the speaker. So if the governor says this is the person I'm nominating, no matter what process is about, it is not left for the speaker to say, you know, it's nothing to you, it's nothing to do because it didn't come from me. They're not coming to work with the speaker, they're coming to work with the governor. That's what the law says. But consultation is something else. So what I saw in that speaker confirmation impropriety was just an attempt to frustrate. An attempt to frustrate is not allowed in a state like Lagos. I do not see Obasa returning to that house in 2027.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Well, that won't be a big deal for him. He's been representing Agege since, you know, God knows when, 18 years thereabout. But unlike when, you know, impeachments or removals like this happen, you see that the public are usually divided into opposing views. I haven't heard quite much from those who have supported this former speaker.
Yeah, because its attitude is very, you know, conspicuous, visible to the blind, and or is even his words audible to the deaf. And so, and if you understand the trajectory of speakership in other states, where the speakership is at the behest of the governor, then you will begin to wonder what's happening. It's not as if this attitude is for the interests of the masses, and that there were certain things that the government was doing that, you know, the speaker or the house is not, you know, amenable to, or that they do not like, and so they're speaking on behalf of the masses. It's like in-house. And so that's why a lot of people are like, oh, look, you as a politician, understanding how you got to that position, understanding where you are coming from, you should have played better politics. And then for a lot of people who also are not happy with APC style of politics, they're like, well, then one down, more to go, good riddance to bad rubbish. So that's why the voices that you're hearing, including his close associates, believe that he ought to have managed this, you know, in a far better way.
I mean, you hear people say, I like him, you know, I worked with him, but I did not agree with him on things like this. So what do you foresee to be the future of the relationship between the executive and his legislature under this new speaker? She's promised an open door policy to work for the people.
Certainly. She's a third-time member of the House, you know. They always come from local government. Obasa was a councillor and then became a member of the House. She also was an aide at the local government in Apapa. And then now she's not ambitious. She's not intending to become governor, even though in Lagos anything can happen. They might say, okay, look, we kept you there so that you can learn the rope, come and be. You know, I told you, You don't be until they say come and be. So she's not ambitious. She's new in the position. Also, she would want to, you know, she's bringing an experience because Obasa was at the same position she is now when he became speaker. So whatever experience he has today, you know, he learned on the job. So she also is coming with that experience and would also want to have that robust relationship with the executive, considering the fact that it is that relationship that led to the ouster of her former boss. And for Obasa, you know, having been a speaker whose words were laws, even though you are first among equals, you know, calling the shots, you know, you had the yam and the knife, you divide, and now becoming an honorary floor member, you know, and to your former deputy. I don't think you want to even come into the house to sit.
By the way, all the committees have been dissolved. Chidi has called in from Kafancha. Hi, Chidi. Good morning.
Good morning, Nifemi.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning, laborers. I must say a very happy new year to you both.
Thank you, Chidi. Good morning and happy new year too.
We are indeed following the political intrigues as it plays out in Lagos State, which is a microcosm of Nigeria. The way and the easy manner the former speaker has been eased out of office shows that the APC as a political party has their own style of politicking. As you rightly said earlier, Barrister, if it were to be in the days of the PDP, they may have given him a slap on the wrist and allow him to continue. But I still want to believe that Obasa is still ambitious, and maybe with time, there is going to be a place where the owners of APC will still place him. So he should not cry as though he has lost all hopes. He will have to continue as the assemblyman that he has been for the past 10 years. I wish the newly elected speaker, which is a woman in the history of Lagos State, I wish her the best in office, and I wish Obasa himself the best in his future endeavors. Thank you so very much, and
thank you so much,
Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. So she's also from a royal family. I learned that she's a sister to Oniru. I don't know how you think this works. Do you think that we're looking at a tenor of, you know, I have learned from how my predecessor fell, and now my colleagues come around, let us have this conversation?
You know, in Lagos, like I said, even becoming an Oba must be sanctioned by, you know, some powers. So you don't just jump from somewhere. Look at what's happening in Ife, for example. And it would also have been out of place having a deputy, you know, and then to carry everybody along and then to give all of them, including the deputy who has been loyal, a sense of belonging. It would have been out of place to impeach a speaker and then the deputy and bring somebody, you know, when the deputy, if you're talking about mismanagement and high-handedness and the deputy, there are no such allegation against her. So it would have been out of place to skip her and then appoint somebody else as speaker. So they just shifted, moved the hierarchy. So let the chief whip become the new deputy, the former deputy become the speaker. So she would have, but in politics you never can tell. One would have also expected that Obasa, who was, I think he was in the house when Jokotolak Melumi was impeached to pave way for Ekufuriji. One would have expected that he would learn from all of those events. But, you know, politics, power corrupt and absolute power corrupt, absolutely. So maybe this first few weeks or months or years, she will use it to learn the ropes. So after some time, then you now hear people whispering to her that, look, you have the power to go to, come and go. And, you know, hangers on. Yes. I tell people the most dangerous people to associate with are not people in power, but those around the corridors of power, because they are friends to power. Once you leave, your phone will stop ringing, and then they become friends to the next person. So they can tell you that, you know, you are a god. And then if you also have that kind of ambition and that kind of arrogance, you begin to see yourself in that light.
And usually that's the problem if you don't learn your lessons.
That's the same thing. Those are the same people that are blowing whistles for Sheikh Tinubu now. Don't worry. You know, some people believe that this impeachment was because of Sheikh Tinubu, and I completely, would disagree with that, because I haven't been a political observer since 1999 in Lagos. So I know Lagos is not. Sheyi is an ambitious young man. He can decide to want to contest the presidency with his father. It's his right. But in Lagos, people don't just wake up and say, I want to be. So there are people who believe, he's our friend, he's their man, and they believe he has the financial muscles and he can be. But the powers that be is the president, might be the leader, but he's answerable to some persons that you don't see and you don't hear.
I want to comment on that, but I'll reserve my comment until when I've gathered my thoughts accurately. But Adisa has called in from Oshodi. Adisa, can we do this in 60 seconds? Please go ahead.
We can't do it 60 seconds because it took my time, so let me make my point. It's very important.
All right, I think you should use it wisely. We have just 2 more minutes.
Please, I don't want to comment much about the Lagos State issues with Obasa, because Obasa has long overstayed in that seat. You could remember there was a time Sahara reporter raised a question about this man's integrity, but the Lagos State government did nothing about it. That's about Obasa. The case of the woman there, I think, when Shoneka was an interim government in 1992, that woman is, Yoruba used to say, Fidi her, so that is Lagos State issue there. Please, there is an important thing I want to make mention of, and it's very important. Please, if TVC can do the general public a very important thing about being our local government chairman. It is Lagos. I live in Lagos. I was born in Lagos, so I know much about Lagos. Now, I have few local government chairmen that are doing fantastically well.
All right.
For example, the Sogor local government chairman. I'm not appraising him. I'm not a politician, but I can see this guy is doing very well. I have the places like Ifelodu, the chairman is doing very well. Please, I have few local governments. I want to know. Please, I would like TVC to be inviting this local government LCDA chairman to know if they are receiving allocation or...
I'm afraid, Adisa, we have to go. There's no doubt about that. I think we had... Who was the chairman we had earlier on in the year, or was it in December? We had a chairman on the show recently, and we're committed to bringing more of them in due time.
I agree with Adisa
in 30 seconds.
That when we talk about the states, the political oil of the states, machineries of the state cannot move without the energy of the local government. So I know TVC had a program just before the local government election where they bring the local government aspirants. But I think that program should continue even after election so that, each of them can come, give account of their stewardship.
We have to go now. Lawyer, public affairs analyst, Libra Soshoma, thank you so much for joining us.
Always my pleasure.
Well, I guess time will tell how Obasa intends to react to his impeachment when he returns from the U.S.
And congratulations to TVC for this brand new studio.
See you again tomorrow, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. At ShopX TV, our customers are the heart of everything we do. As a special thank you for your continued support, we are offering our customers 10% off on selected products from now till November 15th. That's right, shop now and save big on some of your favorite items while stock lasts. Don't miss out on this opportunity to grab amazing products at unbelievable prices. First is our amazing 4-in-1 CookX blender. It's a food processor, a grinder, a blender, and a juicer all in one. The CookX 4-in-1 blender comes with 3 versatile cup sizes, each crafted to handle special tasks perfectly. Imagine effortlessly whipping up smoothies that are truly smooth, pounded yam and soups that are flawlessly pounded and blended. You would normally pay 189,950 naira for the CookX 4-in-1 blender. But call the number on your screen right now or scan the QR code and get it for just 170,995 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the CookX 4-in-1 blender in 2 easy payments of 85,498 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing cooking solution. And we are not done yet. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the ShopX Ultimate Crunch Exercise Machine. The 6-in-1 machine is designed to take your fitness to the next level. No need to worry about expensive gym fees. You can now work out from the comfort of your home and achieve results. With Ultimate Crunch cutting-edge technology, you can transform your body. Its enhanced features deliver a full body workout that's efficient, effective, and enjoyable. The secret is its advanced design that combines multiple exercise models into one unit. The versatile machine features adjustable resistance levels, an ergonomic design, and a built-in digital tracking system that displays speed, time, distance, and calories burned. From sculpting your abs to toning your legs, upper body, and strengthening your core, you would normally pay up to 449,950 naira for the ShopX Ultimate Crunch. But for a limited time only, call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the ShopX Ultimate Crunch at 404,955 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Ultimate Total Crunch in 2 easy payments of 202,478 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing fitness solution. But hurry, limited stocks available. So call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.